All right, let's see if we can get the computer up.
Clear Vista.
All right, good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, September 9th, 2025. It is now 10 a.m. We're here for the regular session of the Hunt County Commissioners Court. At this time, I'll call the meeting to order and ask Commissioner Hutchins to lead us in prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the flags.
Please join me in prayer. Our gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to gather together. We ask that everything that's said and done would be pleasing in your sight, and that you bless each person who has shown up today for the care of their community, and that they would be able to invest mightily on behalf of your kingdom. As in your precious and holy name that I pray these things. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you, everyone. We have Commissioner Hutchins, Commissioner Monroe, Commissioner Smith, Commissioner Harrison present. I'm Judge Stovall presiding over the meeting today. At this time, we'll have public testimony. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes and should conduct themselves in a civil manner. The Commissioners Court cannot take action on items not listed on the agenda in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. Concerns will be addressed by county staff and may be placed on a future agenda or addressed by some course of response. Robert Fuller or Full? Fuller, okay. Looked like an A at the end. I couldn't see if it was ER or an A.
I'm sorry, I never did well with penmanship.
Me neither. I should have been able to read it.
I just wanted to take this opportunity to address this court. I appreciate the opportunity and the time that you're allotting us. It has come to my attention that this court is looking at our budget for this next year. I know that that is a difficult task, and it is not an easy one to address. However, there are some concerns in there, and that is particularly the increase in the tax rate for this next year as a result of this budget. I know that that is not an easy thing to address. I personally, myself, being an engineer and transitioning into cost accounting for my engineering, current program I'm on, we just, at 50% complete, were asked to reduce our remaining budget by 40%. We had to reduce $12 million out of our budget. That is not an easy task, I know. But it's the hard things that are what we're here for and what is expected of everybody here. It is not the easy things that we do. That is what divides us as a country, and what makes us stand apart from the rest of the world is we take on the hard task and not the easy task. The people in this country right now are facing a time of intense belt tightening due to the economy. Everybody is being affected, not just the lower class, not just the upper class, not just the middle class. Everybody is. And raising taxes in a time like this just seems imprudent to me. My wife has worked at Fish at our local food pantry for several years, and we see daily the number of people struggling in this community. It is not something that many people are aware of, the amount of struggle that goes on. Just yesterday, as she was at church, we had a record number of requests for assistance because of this. Raising taxes at this time just seems very blinding to those of us that have to face it. It's like we're not being seen, like the struggles that people are having now are not being seen. And so I urge you, please look at not what is wanted in this budget, not what is desired, but what is actually needed, the bare minimum. I appreciate my commissioner, Mark Hutchinson, for bringing this to light. And I know he has proposed an alternative of no new taxes option. And I applaud him for that, and I think that is a great thing. However, I do disagree with him in one point. We shouldn't be talking about raising taxes or lowering taxes. We should be talking about either maintaining taxes or lowering them instead of holding and raising. And I assume that's my time limit, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody, is that all? Anybody else want to speak at this time, or if it's a budget issue, you'll be able to talk when we start talking about the budget also. Being none, I'll close the public testimony. Commissioners, old business action item A, number 1, the replat of lot 4 of Clear Vista Estates in Precinct 2. Brian?
So this one was on there last meeting, and y'all had some questions. There were some folks that came and spoke about the replat. I contacted the developer. He sent a packet, which I provided to y'all with some existing topographical information, as well as the email between me and him. I've also included some maps in there showing the surrounding lots that are on the road, their sizes, everything else that would affect this replat. What they're proposing isn't too far out of the ordinary for the lots in the area. A little bit smaller than some, larger than others. The ponds that were on the property were filled over the past year or so before the plat was done. There's no floodplain on the property. There's also no base level engineering on the property. So we have no kind of regulated water issues on there as far as floodplain or FEMA regulation.
Any questions?
I'd like to add, I've been over here on this road, that's County Road 2292. In this area, where they're wanting to plot that up, the size of the lots is not uncommon. There's some lots that actually are about the same size, and they have 3 mobile homes on those lots. So this here is it's not gonna look unfamiliar with the property, with that area out there. I've looked up, and as Mr. Toole said, there's no, on the FEMA plans, there's no flood, it's not on the flood map as a flood area. And then also, the people have agreed to pay to upgrade the road. So they've met all the county requirements for, they've got the road frontage that they need. They've paid to upgrade the roads. And so I don't really see how we can deny it. So saying that, I'd make a motion that we
We gotta have a public,
I'm sorry.
yeah, we gotta have a public hearing first. It's a replat. Since we did last time, do we have to do it again, Brian?
I don't believe so.
Aaron? Yeah.
I mean, if anybody wants to speak.
All right, at this time, I'll open it up to comments on the replat of Lot 4 of Clear Vista Estates. Does anybody here wish to speak for or against it? Being none, I'll close the public testimony. Now I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Brian. Under consent calendar, entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. B, action items. Discuss and possibly take action on the following. Approval of accounts payable.
Motion to approve payables.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Approval of line item transfers.
Motion to approve line item transfers.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Approval of budget amendments.
Make a motion to approve budget amendments.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Approval of payroll and personnel.
Make a motion to approve payroll and personnel.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 1, a proclamation designating October 5 through 11, 2025 as National 4-H Week in Texas, and commend the 4-H Youth Development Program of the Texas A&M Ag Life Extension Service and the many men and women who have made the program a success. Mary, I know you want to say something. We like to hear you talk.
Oh, thanks for having me. I just want to say good morning, and always thank you for the commissioners and the judges' support in our office at the extension, down at the extension office. We did bring some young people with us. No PowerPoint presentation today, but I did want to share, we had 3 of our local clubs kick off last night, and from the feedback I heard, we had close to 200 Hunt County members in attendance at those meetings, so that's super fabulous. We're kicking off the year, and the county program is having their annual kickoff this Saturday in the Heritage Garden, so we're going to give you a flyer for that. I know Mark joined us last year with his kiddos. We will have some county ambassadors there talking about their projects. We'll have a little free ice cream. We've also got a Healthy Texas Youth Ambassador that will have some Play Street equipment out there. So we'll have cornhole and Jenga, and the Master Gardeners will be there planting seeds with the kids. So if you can join us, I know it's short notice, but the farmer's market will be going. Go get you something. Come join us. It's come and go. I'll pass these out, and if you would so kindly read the proclamation, we would be very grateful.
Anybody else want to speak, or?
I didn't plan on it, but they might impromptu. Anybody?
I can speak. Hello, y'all. Good morning. My name's Aaron. I am the Hunt County Council 4-H President-elect, and I just want to say thank you for your continued support of this program. I'm so excited for this upcoming year. We have so many amazing members of Hunt County 4-H who compete at club, county level, district level, state level, and even at national events. So just thank you guys so much. We had Mr. Mark Hutchins come out for our awards banquet. We have so many members that receive scholarships and awards as part of this county. And I've been a member of 4-H for 10 years now, and I'm such a different person because of this program. And I just want to thank you guys so much once again for staying with us and continuing us.
Thank you. Thank you, young lady.
Okay. I got one more thing, because we have 2 new staff members in attendance that I just want to introduce a face with the name. We have Mr. Ian Zarang that has hit the ground running, already did a pond management program this past weekend, the last Saturday of August, and we have a new 4-H program assistant, Miss Christina Amelia, and so we're so happy to have, we have a full staff. Yay!
Yay. Glad to have everybody.
Right.
Anybody else want to say, either one of y'all want to say anything? You're free to if you want to.
Feel good? Okay.
All right, so I'll read the proclamation. Whereas this year's National 4-H Week theme, Beyond Ready, reminds us that 4-H is building a ready generation in a world of change and equips young people with skills for the future while meeting them where they are today. Whereas 4-H is America's largest youth development organization, supporting 6 million youth across the country. Whereas 4-H programs are delivered by the Cooperative Extension System, a community of more than 100 public land-grant colleges and universities across the nation that provides experience for young people to learn by doing. Whereas 4-H is in every city and county in the United States and helps 6 million youth become engaged, successful, and independent. Whereas 4-H connects young people and adults to their communities, prepares them for work and life through exceptional and inquiry-based learning while providing emerging research of positive youth development. And whereas expanding from its strong agricultural roots, 4-H helps young people explore the world around them and grow into productive adults. And whereas supporting future leaders in science, agricultural, and community leadership is an important imperative for the U.S. Department of Agricultural National Institute of Food and Agricultural 4-H programs. Now, therefore, I, Bobby W. Stovall, Hunt County Judge, do hereby proclaim October 5th through 11th, 2025 as National 4-H Week throughout the cities in Hunt County and state of Texas, and encourage all our citizens to recognize 4-H for the significant impact it has made and continues to make by empowering youth with the skills they need to lead for a lifetime. Whereof I have hereto set my hands on this September 9th, 2025. Yeah. Entertain a motion for approval of this.
So moved.
Second.
Have you got the?
I have it right here.
Okay. I assume y'all want a picture?
Yes, please.
I'm getting one of these so I can bring it.
Y'all smile and say 4-H. Thank you. Thank you all.
Push this back for you. All right, action item number 2, the quarterly report for the Boys and Girls Club in Northeast Texas.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
I feel like I haven't been here in a while. Summer is the craziest time of the year for us. Well, good morning once again. My name is Brenda Chavez, and I am here to just give some amazing stories that our Boys and Girls Club are doing here in Hunt County. So this summer, our clubs were full of laughter and curiosity as well as resilience. We welcome our kids who came in carrying heavy burdens and saw them leave each day smiling. As we just supported and just encouraged them throughout the summer. As we began this new school year, we made a commitment to serving all kids and no child left behind. This means when a child is walking through our buildings, our doors, we don't just see a student, but we get to know the whole person as a whole. We get to know their strengths, their struggles, and their dreams as we walk alongside their parents and their guardians, building trust and partnership that just help us support them. Through one of our programs, our Smart Moves, I don't think I can speak enough of this program. We have just been seeing our children just grow overall. This is emotional, academic, and just physically. This school year, we have 7 kids that are in our foster care system they're just building relationships with all of our staff members, with their just peer-to-peer. We literally just within the 2 weeks within our Lone Oak school, we had the foster parent reach out to one of our staff members and say, hey, we really would like for you to be in their RA meeting. And this means trying to create a plan for this child. And as a Boys and Girls Club staff member, this really is something that we strive for because we want to be involved in the child's life and their school. And how can we build those better relationships with the child than with the support of their community and who they're around with. So once again, we just thank y'all so much for your support, for everything that y'all do. And it is truly an honor to be up here every single quarterly to just give a report to y'all and let y'all know what is happening in our clubs. So thank y'all so much.
Thank you for what you do. Entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 3, the request to construct electrical power distribution facilities which will cross County Road 2586 in Precinct 2 under normal stipulations. Entertain a motion for approval.
Make a motion to approve under normal stipulation.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 4, the request for permission to open cut a section of road approximately 60 feet at 4329 County Road 2617 in Precinct 2 under normal stipulations.
Make a motion to approve this construction under normal stipulation.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 5, the request to construct electrical power distribution facilities which will cross County Road 2648 in Precinct 2 under normal stipulations.
Make a motion to approve under normal stipulation.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 6, the civil plans for Valley View in Precinct 3. Brian?
Judge,
Go ahead. That's supposed to be
it's actually
two.
supposed to be 2.
Yeah. I knew it when I said it, but it's not on there right.
Okay, this is civil plans for a new subdivision that was actually located in the ETJ of Union Valley. They got out of the ETJ in May, so they're here with civil plans that have been reviewed by our engineer and approved. There's a letter attached, meets all of our requirements.
Have we already approved the preliminary?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I thought so. All right, Commissioners, y'all got any questions? Entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Todd, y'all need to say anything, or you good? Okay,
Thank you.
thank y'all. Action item number 7, the replat of Lot 7 of Whispering Winds in Precinct 2.
This is one where they showed the half-acre no-build zone on the plat, and they're wanting to now build a building, so they're reconfiguring that half-acre no-build zone. That's the reason for the replat.
Okay. Any questions before we open it up? This time we'll open it up to the public for any comments, either for or against the replat of Lot 7 and Whispering Winds in Precinct 2. Anybody wish to speak? Being none, I'll close the public comments. Entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 8, final plat of Nunez Estates in Precinct 4.
Simple subdivision, meets all our requirements. It does have quite a bit of floodplain on the front, so this has actually been kind of a long, drawn-out deal. We had to have some issues taken care of due to the floodplain on this plat, but they've got it all squared away, and they meet all our requirements now.
Entertain a motion for approval.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Action number 9, public hearing, consideration, and action on adopting, approving, or ratifying the proposed fiscal year 25-26 budget that does raise more taxes than the fiscal year 24-25 and all related issues. Jessica, did you give them, you got the fob? Yes, I don't see it up here. Okay. All right,
What's this?
commissioners and public, do a little presentation on our budget. This proposed tax rate will help address the growing concerns and needs of an exponentially growing Hunt County. It strengthen law enforcement services by adding 4 additional requested law enforcement positions and provide a balanced budget for the future growth needs. The rate, I know some are accusing me of saying I want to raise taxes and all, but the rate is really a form of math. We had multiple meetings with this court and had public comments, and we had comments from our other departments, and I took all of those comments and the direction of what the court was saying we wanted to go, one of them being we wanted a balanced budget. So with the sheriff had originally requested 7 deputies, then he said he could get by with 5, and towards the end he kindly reduced that to 4. And I know the sheriff needs everything he can get and all the help. He's doing a fabulous job. I'm glad that we can get him 4 deputies. The commissioners, in working towards getting a balanced budget, they held their revenue line items to what they had last year, which allowed $1.2 million out of this budget that would have normally gone to them into the M&O budget to help reduce the budget demands we have on M&O. Quinlan J.P. requested an additional person, and that was not granted by the court. A DA asked for 2 attorneys to handle increased caseload. We didn't feel like we could do that at this time. The health department asked for another position. That was not granted in this budget. And traditionally, we do cost of living raises, COLAs, for all our employees, and that was not granted this time. So we've cut our budget through all of those requests and some of the things we normally do considerably. And plus, we had some pretty good cuts in last year's budget. But all this was working towards trying to get a balanced budget. For a little bit of the history of the county, from 2010 to 2019, you can see that we just our property values grew 44%, but a lot of that came in the last 3 or 4 years. So in 19, up until that time, you can see their tax rate kind of stayed the same, fluctuated up and down, but there was no increases in their budgets for years. They had no money. So in 19, we had the average age of our vehicles were 18 and a half years old. We had air conditioning units on the courthouse, 23 of them, I believe it was, that had to be replaced. They were way past their lifetime. We've had multiple other deferred maintenance issues around all our facilities. Courthouse is soon be 100 years old. The jail is in constant need of repairs, as I think the public's well aware of. It never was built correctly, and we've been working feverishly along. And when I got here in 19, it had been decertified by the state for 3 to 5 years. And I think it was in like 2020, we finally got it back in compliance with the state of Texas, and it's stayed there ever since. But part of that compliance issues and those repair issues was in 19, our wages were so low. I think we were paying a jailer like $34,000 a year at that time. And we usually had 20 vacancies in there all the time. And we worked over a period of a few years getting their salaries up to a point what we were experiencing, sheriff would hire them, train them, and then they'd go to Rockwall or Collin County and make $10,000 more than we were paying them. And so we've worked up to the point now we're staying full. We got them to a pay scale that people will stay here and work with us and keep all the staff full, which has helped dramatically on keeping us in compliance. I think Sheriff, it was year before last when the state came and said that, I think, normally they stay like 2 days or a week, and they showed up at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm usually over there when they do their exit to sign off on the papers, and I think about 3 o'clock that afternoon, I got a call to come over and sign and do the exit with them. And of course, I was somewhere, I was going to the doctor to get an allergy shot, and I was too far away to get back. But we got a glowing review. He only stayed here a few hours, and he said he wouldn't be back for a few years. So from going non-compliance to being totally in compliance and getting the kind of review, and our administrator, Chad, he was asked if he would go teach classes on how to run a jail. He'd had the best reports they'd ever seen. So there was, a lot of good things happened there, but we started spending a lot of money trying to catch up with the past. And then the 19 to 26, we really had tremendous growth. But even from that, starting like in 19, we were so far behind, but at the same time, we're trying to go forward and catch up with what's coming at us and what we're growing, and still trying to make up for what's behind us. And so that's been a challenge of our budgets every year for the last several years, trying to catch up. But the growth, you can see what it's done to the tax rate. Now, I know the public, you may look at your house and say, well, the rate went down, but I'm still paying the same amount of taxes. When that's probably true with some people. Here's a graph of what the tax rate has done since 19. You can see the drop in the graph form. Same in the property values, just the opposite. It's going up very quickly. Then our population, in 2010, we had 86,129 people. In 2020, we had 99,956, which is 16.1% increase. From the 2020 census to January 1st of 24 was the latest numbers we have, and we grew a little over 118,000, about 800 people, or excuse me, 18,850 people or so. So it's been challenging times. That's added a whole lot more voters. We've had to add more staff to voting. We've had to buy more voting machines. We've recently just had to redistrict some of the voting boxes because we can't have more than 5,000 people in a voting box, and we had one with nearly 10,000 people, and others that were knocking on the door of 5,000, so we had to recently redo that. And of course, the state now has redistricted for the congressional line, and we're going to redo some of them again. So we'll have more expenses with that. And by the way, state doesn't reimburse us to help us with any of that when they do it. They just let us pay for it. And then talk a little bit more about growth. The RTC is Regional Transportation Council, which I serve on that 45-member board. I represent Hunt and Rockwall counties. We share a spot and alternate out every 2 years who has the seat on that council. But on that council, we've been working on a 2025 mobility plan. So the stats they were getting for that shows the growth in the COG area, which is the 16-member counties around the Metroplex, going all the way out to Parker County, all the way out to Hunt and Wise County, Denton County to the north, and Collin County, and down south all the way down to Ellis County. But the region's supposed to grow about 3.7 million people in the next 25 years, which is important for the transportation arm of it. So I'm showing you this first because the next slide is real small on those percentages, but the next slide will show you those color schemes with the percentage of projected growth. And you can see we're up there in the top right-hand corner, and that darkest area is 300% or more growth. And around Caddo has got the bulk of it. Maybe the 200 to 300% is along the county line with Rockwall and Collin counties, and a little bit south of, I guess, Caddo. And you can see all the other growth that's on the east side of the Metroplex area. So to zoom in just on our county, you can better identify those growth patterns that they're projecting. Even most of the west of 34 and even the southeast quadrant of 34 and 30, they're expecting up to 100% growth in a lot of that, and if not that, 100 to 200%. But the things that, of course, you know, they get it off of data, those numbers, and they don't have necessarily all of the things in motion and are being planned. But these spots, we have knowledge that these developments are trying to happen. Wolf Creek, MMD, they got that through the legislation, the MMD designation. They've already bought, I think, over 1,000 acres, maybe 1,500 acres north of Greenville. They're planning on building a high-end community with a golf course and shops and eating places and all kind of fancy stuff is what they're planning on doing. And I think they're looking at, Steve, you remember it's 10,000 or
9 to 12,000.
9 to 12,000 people in that area. And then out in the Caddo area, there's another new group trying to do a big project. And then over around Josephine is the one on the left, and one down at the bottom, that's out at, I assume that's up by Portree, and that's Bishop Field is a 500-acre tract out there that had a private airport on it, and that is being put into a mud. And then up in the northwest corner, there's another big development plan. So that's going to be approximately 3,700 additional residents at some point in time in the near future. And just right before last court date, we got this delivered to us. It's a D.R. Horton subdivision on 66, just east into Hunt County. Down at the bottom left, you can see where there's no red lines. That's Rockwall County. They're talking about real small lots in there. We're probably going to have problems. They're trying to do small lots. We don't have the firefighting capability of doing it, but we don't know that we'll have a chance to stop it, but we're going to try. It's going to be too dangerous. So the population growth in Hunt, Kaufman, and Rockwall, currently with the demographics of Texas, Kaufman's the fastest growing county in the state. Rockwall's number 3 and we're number 5. So our little triangle here of counties is the fastest area in the state of Texas, I believe, with the combination of the 3. And of course, Ellis County's on the other side of Kaufman too, and it's growing rapidly too. So the growth, it's here. It's not. I've been here nearly a little over 70 years, and I didn't think I'd ever see it. I always hoped it would, and had my businesses here, hoped I'd see it. I didn't think I was going to live long enough to see it, but I got to live long enough to see it because it's here. And the demands it's putting on us, not only on our roads, but all of our departments, you know, our tax office has got to get bigger. There's more tracks coming in. There's, as I've already mentioned, voters, and then of course our law enforcement and courts are going to be more heavily involved. And of course another challenge that we have with our budget is the inflation rates. They affect us just like they affect our homes. And over the last 5 years, you can see there's 4.2 average. We're still running, I think the last report I saw was 2.7. And you know, when we're trying to keep a budget down to nothing, we still, I mean, there's no way we can keep doing no growth and try to keep up with what all's happening in and around us. Another problem that we've had, and a lot of the problems we've had with the taxes has been the inflation of construction cost on houses, where the houses have, those costs have just shot up through the roof since 2020. It's been a dramatic increase of housing increases, as we all know, and to the point that I was told by a realtor last week that the first time he ever heard or knew of it, there's more houses for sale than there are buyers. And he just said if he'd ever seen it, it'd been a long time ago. Other thing that we have to consider is, even though we're getting some growth and all, those collections of taxes don't come in immediately. Taxes are assessed January 1st of every year. And if it's a vacant lot January 1st, there's no taxes paid on it but the value of the lot. Now, they may get the house built in a few months, and they may occupy it for a few months or half the year, but we don't get any revenue out of it for that year other than just the lot. It starts in the following year, so that always hurts some of this growth is a lagging growth. And then this, the state is saying that, they're trying to put all counties and cities in the same box, and they think that they can better regulate cities and counties from Austin than they can let the local people handle it. I mean, I think the United States is built on the best government is local government, and it's not that's being severely challenged. You can see up there that in 19 they did away with the rollback threshold of 8% and dropped it down to 3.5 for the counties and cities. I think the rollback was bad. I think it was not right. The rollback in those days, if an entity went over their threshold of 8%, it forced the citizens to go get a petition to have the election. The new rules are the 3.5. If we go over it, we have to call the election, which is the way it should be. I don't think anybody in local government has a problem with that, but it is a problem when they cut you down to such a growth spot that it points that we're in today. It's real hard to manage it, even though we are. I mean, the budget we're proposing is 1.6. Some of the services we provide, law enforcement, prosecution, incarceration, and we didn't put in adjudication up there, but all the courts and all are in there too. Roads and bridge maintenance, homeland security, veterans, voter administration, and elections. We hold all the elections for all the entities in the county. The vital records management and other services that are support for the county. The IT and HR and facilities and all these other departments we have to manage. And so comparison that I've used since I've been up here is the Victoria, Liberty, Bastrop, and we use Rockwall also. Those are similar. Victoria, well, let me start with Liberty and Bastrop. Liberty's joins Harris County on the east side. Bastrop's on the east side of Travis County. They're in a very similar situation to us, being on the east side of a metroplex. We're similar tax bases, similar geographic areas, so we got similar road miles and all those. So they're really, to me, a really good comparison. But you can see that, one, Bastrop's kind of in the same ballpark we are, and Liberty's quite a bit higher. I don't know I do know that Liberty has a landfill. I don't know what other peculiarities they might have, but there's probably some things that they do that may be different than what the other counties of us do. Victoria is very similar to us. They're just not adjacent to a huge metropolitan area. Rockwall is not much of a comparison to us because, they're next door to us, but we got a lot more area, and they have their smallest county in the state, and they have 15 miles of roads to maintain, and we have 1,200 miles of roads to maintain. So if you take out our budget for the road and bridge, which is around 9 cents. We're down below what Rockwall County is just for managing the government. So, we're proud of that. We're not saying that we should go up to any of those numbers. We're just looking at them to see how we're doing compared to everybody else. So the proposed changes this year with the property value of the 282, on the left side is the current year average, and then on the right-hand side is this year's average home price. Now, that's just the average home. I don't know if anybody has a house that's appraised at that number, but it is the average of all the houses. So you can see that we got, we put up different cities and also that kind of see the difference in the amount of taxes being paid. But we're around 15% of the total taxes you pay. I know a lot of people fussed at us last year because they were going to pay $9,000 in taxes or something, but they pay it to the Hunt County Tax Office, but they collect for all the entities and then they distribute the money out to the entities. So when you're paying your tax bill, you're not paying it. You're paying it to Hunt County Tax Office, but we don't get all that money. We get about 15% of whatever it is you pay. And then the proposed taxpayer impact. On this slide, we're showing what the last year's average was and what you paid, and then we paid this year's with what it would increase with the increase in the property value and the tax rate. But if we go to a no new revenue rate with the new value, it's still going up $42.08. So the additional 1.6 cents that the budget is calling for to have a balanced budget would be the $42. If we go to the no new revenue rate, it's still going up $40 on that average home price. And again, to reiterate, the road and bridge guys like to use this slide because people fuss about them on the road situation. Out of that $886, they get about $225 of it, and you can't hardly fix a pothole for $225. So the road and bridge guys, they've got a tall order with as many miles of roads that we have to maintaining. This year, I know it's a struggle keeping them mowed because it rained so much this year. It's too wet to mow, and then it grew too fast, and then it rained again, and so they've had a real struggle with it. And but that's just another indication of what we're up against. And again, I present. It's my job I am the budget officer of the county, but it's my job to present a budget, and I followed what I thought was the marching orders I got from the commissioners and of what we wanted to see, and we all wanted to try to get to a balanced budget. And the tax rate that we came up with is what gives us a balanced budget. But call it a balanced budget. It's about $1.1 million, a negative balance. I put $1 million. The commissioners had talked about taking money out of capital improvement, so I moved $1 million out of capital improvement into this budget revenue, and put in $1 million in contingency. The way it works at the county, if we don't have budgetary authority, we can't spend it, no matter how much money we got in the bank. So if we have occasions that come up that we have to have money, that contingency there, so that we'll have budgetary authority to spend it. So when you back out the $1 million with that offset, we're close to being budgeted or balanced. We were balanced, and then the state gave raises to the bunch of the judges and some other people, and that we had no control over, so it bumped it up a little bit. So, commissioners, y'all got any questions, comments about it?
Well, I will say, just watching from that side last year, looking at this side, it's a lot scarier when all of y'all are looking at us up here. I do know that the process started back in June. You know, it's a learning process of, you know, what's the best way to go build a budget. But I do appreciate that we were able to get briefed by the department heads, see what they're asking for, understand that. I do think that's allowed us to go through a lot of the reductions and changes getting to this point. So I do want to thank you that I believe the process took a step forward this year, and we'll just hopefully
I agree.
keep getting better from here on forward.
Any other comments? Well, at this time, I'll open it up to public hearing. Anybody who wishes to speak for or against the budget, please come forward and state your name and address. I got to go back to seeing camera. Okay. Are we good? Okay. Hey, Mark.
Mark White, 3315 County Road 1108, Celeste, Texas. Okay, the 9-month reprieve is over. I'm back. and
We missed you.
Oh, well, everybody but Commissioner Smith had to suffer through my previous quotes, but today I wanted to just say a very renowned leader of our country said, "God grant me the courage not to give up when I think what I think is right, even though it might seem hopeless." Well, Admiral Nimitz was truly a man of God and a great leader. And 120,000 people have elected you guys to be that kind of leader, to do what is right. I don't envy putting budgets together. I did that for 30 plus years at a major corporation with much bigger numbers. And it is hard. It is very difficult. And it's very difficult to know what's right. Right? So there's the people who are on fixed incomes, there's people who are young and working and vibrant, and we've got a mix of all that in Hunt County. And we have a unique position here for you guys to be not just great leaders, but the very best leaders. We are in a situation where we are growing rapidly. I mean, I know all about trying to figure out where we're going, especially trying to figure out if we're going to become a city and married or not. But I tell you what, nobody likes increases in taxes. Nobody, right? It's always going to be contentious. It's always going to be an issue. And even with no rate growth, our taxes are going up. You took a ton of my speech, Judge.
Sorry.
No, thank you. You preempted me. That's good. I'm up here to say, please be very good stewards of what God has blessed each of us with, and realize, and I know you guys know this, you're spending our money. So I want you guys to be the best leaders, the best stewards of any county in Texas. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else wish to speak? Sure, come on up.
I do wish to say thank you for this presentation. It's really been good information. I will say, though, I'm an electrical engineer. I went through Tennessee Tech. As such, I was one class shy of being a double major in math. And one thing that's said in math oftentimes is there's statistics and there's damn statistics. And I think this presentation can be viewed that same way. We talk about the growth rate that we've had in this county, and we're looking at a growth in cost of houses of 44%, as we stated. That growth in houses results in additional revenue. Yes, there's a delay. I understand that. There will be a delay. But that growth increases the revenue for later in the budget, and it will offset a lot of those costs. So I know y'all have gone through a lot. It's, as I said, it's not easy. I understand that. But I do believe, looking at this, I believe the numbers I saw were, it comes out to about a 12% growth in the budget. My personal budget hasn't been able to grow 12%. And I think that's the case of many of us here. And we need to think about that. And comparing ourselves to other counties, I think, is a way to work at setting a baseline, but I think we have to be careful also of getting into that keeping up with the Joneses mentality of trying to get ourselves to where other people are rather than where we need to be. And I know it's been hard. I appreciate the work you've done. I just ask you to consider really hard whether we really need to raise taxes or not. Thank you.
Yeah, yes, sir, thank you. I appreciate what you're saying, but I don't think I've put it in the slide or talked about it. And if I didn't, I apologize. If not, I need to reiterate it. The last 4 years, we've had a deficit budget. So we've been prepared to take money out of savings if we had to. Now, most of the years, we got close to making a even budget, but we budgeted it a deficit. So our spending's gone up. We've been keeping our tax rates low, but our spending has kept going because of the growth and the raises, that we've had. So this year, it's been our goal to try to get to a balanced budget so we're not playing this catch-up every year like we're trying to do again this year. We're trying to catch up from all these prior years where we're budgeting to have to spend savings. And we can't keep doing that forever. So this is a year I tried it last year, we're trying it again this year, is try to get to a balanced budget. And if we do that going forward, then some of the statements that we hear is, well, then the growth ought to take care of it. Well, it gives us a chance that that'll take care of it. But right now, when we start out with a deficit budget, and then the most money we've gotten out of new growth is $3.5 million. Most of it's been down around $2 million. And so we're not getting this tremendous tax dollar increase every year. We're getting some, and we're getting some because of the appreciation of the houses. There's no question about that. But that's been the problem, is we can't keep having a deficit budget because we just keep having to chase it. And this year's worse because our projections right now, you don't know. We still got a payroll and a half to go and a lot more bills to pay this month, but we're looking at a little up $1.5 million deficit in this year's at the end of the year. So we will be having to spend $1.5 million out of our savings to cover the cost of that. So now this year we got 2.2 in new growth where we got to cover up from to get anywhere. So we got 2.2 in new property value, I think, this year, maybe 2.6, don't remember. But we're having to make up this $1.2 million to $1.5 million deficit we're going to have. So it's a challenge, and that's why it's so important that we try to get to get to a balanced budget or as close to that as we can, so we can quit chasing this. All right, anybody else wish to speak? No.
Judge, I'd like to say.
Well, let me close the public.
Never mind, go
All
ahead.
right. This time we'll close the public testimony. Now, Commissioner, fire away.
I was going to say, I appreciate the work of this court this year, and I understand where your proposed budget is, and I understand why you went there, trying to get us to a balanced budget. But I also think at this time that I don't really agree with going 1.5 cents. I'm not saying you're wrong on it. I don't think you had any ill intentions of proposing that budget. But my feelings on it, my take is I can't support a 1.5 cents. I'm not going to say that I'll go no new revenue. I think we need to get, this is my opinion, I think we need to get somewhere in between no new revenue and 1.5 cents. But I definitely will not support a 1.5 cents. But I want to make it clear that I do understand why you presented a 1.5 cents, and I don't feel that there was no ill intentions there. But I can't support it just because it's going to increase not only my constituents, but all of Hunt County taxpayers. And I'm a Hunt County taxpayer, and I pay too much tax.
We all do.
We all do. But I just can't justify going 1.5 cents, and that's just kind of my take on it.
Anybody else?
David, I agree with you. It's hard to sit up here knowing, where the economy is and where we're all at, trying to tax the citizens, more. I agree with you on, the views from the judge. I know why he's trying to do it. He's trying to look at it from a business standpoint, make sure we're good for down the road. But obviously there is a lot of uncertainty down the road as well. With the no new revenue, if we're going to be back in here again next year trying to figure out, how to dig out from even a deeper hole. It's unclear right now what the feds are going to do on the interest rates, if that's going to help us out or hurt us. I know there's some stuff down in Austin that's taking place that we're going to have to look at for next year as well. One thing I do think we need to look at for next year, it's hard for us to sit up here and cut each individual's budget or line items. We need to put it back more on the other elected officials and give them a certain amount that we've got to spend and let them do some of the cutting for us. It's hard for us to sit up here, for hours on time trying to go through somebody's budget and figuring out where we can cut, a few $1,000s or something like that to make it up. But I'm kind of with you as well, David. I kind of think we're somewhere in the middle between $1.50 and no new revenue.
Another problem that I see on is this year we made a lot of hard decisions. I mean, whenever you tell workers that you don't get a raise, a COLA, cost of living, that was a hard decision. I can go without a raise. I'm not wealthy, but I can make it. But there's some people, I understand, they live check to check and trying to make it work. And that was a tough decision, but we had to make that decision trying to get the cost down. That saved us around $700,000 to $1 million in that. We took money, almost $1.3 million, that was supposed to be new money coming into the precincts. Guess what? I'm already short in the precincts of working. I got 250 miles of road to maintain. That's hard. I've made hard decisions this year on cutting this budget down. We pulled $1 million out of our capital improvement account, so that's money that we may or may not be able. I mean, what I'm trying to say is next year, even if we start out balanced, next year, in my opinion, we can't go without giving employee COLAs. That's not good business. You can't keep people doing that. We can't take money out of precincts again. I mean, the county's going backwards doing that. So there's a fine line of where we have to be in this revenue, between your revenue and what your expenses are. Yes, we've went in and we've cut down expenses a bunch this year. Can we make more? Maybe. I don't see any big ones that are just jumping out off the pages at us. Yes, Judge put contingency in some line items. We can take contingency out of that, but all you're doing is still the same money. We have to go in instead of him saying, yes, y'all go ahead and make that repair on the elevator or roof. He has to bring it to the court, and we say, yes, we approve to spend that money. You're just delaying that decision a couple of days. That's all that moving that contingency money around is doing. But this is hard for me because, I always like to do the right thing. And number two, I'm up for election this coming year, at the first of the year. And I have to keep that in mind for my constituents that have called me and said, hey, do all you can do not to raise taxes. And that's what I'm trying to do. But I'm also having to look and make my decision not based on today and what looks good this year and trying to get me reelected. I have to look at several years down the road. Next year, 3 years, 5 years, what is that going to affect this county? And whether I'm here on this court or it's future courts, how is it going to make their job? That's the decision. That's what I'm basing my decisions on in this fact. And I guess I'm saying all this is I want my constituents, I want every Hunt County taxpayer to know that when I make a decision, I'm doing it, I've got the best interest of the county at my heart. And it's, like I said, it's not easy, and it's not easy for me sitting here talking right now. But I'm doing the best I can, and that's all I got to say about it.
Commissioners, let's talk about a little different subject right quick, because we can't vote on the tax rate till later. It's gonna be 1 o'clock this afternoon before we can come back in and vote on the tax rate.
Judge, I'm
But-
sorry to interrupt. I was going to add some comments behind him. I'm happy for you to finish first. I just want to make sure
Oh, that's fine. I mean, either way, I don't care. I
you
just-
finish first. Then.
But what we need to do at this time, if we approve the budget, then when we do the tax rate, if you're gonna cut the proposed tax rate, then we'll have a larger deficit budget, which is, we've got the funds to cover it. But if, at this point in this discussion, we've got to be talking about approving both, because we've got to talk about both of them, but this is just for the budget, not for the tax rate. So keep in mind that if we're going to lower the tax rate, are we going to cut out of the budget, or are we going to approve the budget as it is and just go with the deficit budget, which is what I'd recommend, and not do what we went through last year, because it gets about to the same point. Okay, is that, everybody understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, Judge, could you repeat it one time for me?
Come on.
I'm slow.
I would
You
appreciate that.
newbie.
Didn't get it, none of us got it, so,
Newbie.
yeah, please read it.
This part is about approving the budget. So we have our budget. What we're talking about now is change in revenue. So if we're going to just change the revenue with a different tax rate, and we don't change any of the budget, which is okay, but it'll throw it to the negative budget. Unless you,
So there's two approvals. One is your forecasted expense, and the other is the rate that you use for revenue against that forecasted expense.
correct. So the way this works, we got to, and I don't know why we don't do the rate first, but the law, I guess, says we have to do it this way.
And what's the deal at 1 o'clock?
Well, we didn't get it corrected on the first filing, and so we had to refile an addendum to this meeting and to start at 1 o'clock to vote on the tax rate. With the new clock the state gave us, where you got to be 3 business days, not 3 days, not 72 hours anymore, it's 3 business days. And when it was caught, we had to get it refiled.
But obviously, if we approve the budget, for the most part, the tax rate's already going to be set in a roundabout way. No?
No, not really, because it's not set until we vote to set the rate.
Sure.
So that will revise the budget by that tax rate. So that's what I'm saying, it's gonna lower the revenue. We can still approve the budget, subject to maybe, Aaron, do we have to say anything subject to the reduction in the rate, to go to the rate, or?
As long as the deficit budget, as long as there's some money there, it's gonna be a deficit budget, that's fine.
Yeah,
Money has to be there in the new rate.
right. So if we go to a new rate, a different rate than what's proposed, then, like I say, it'll just become a deficit budget, and we will correct it in our adopted budget with the new rate.
Judge, for clarity, if we adopt a deficit budget, what that means, if 100% of our budget is spent, say it's $2 million deficit budget, we spend the complete budget, we're $2 million in a deficit, that pulls $2 million out of our fund balance
Correct.
to pay that.
Correct.
So my constituents are concerned about how much money we have in the bank or savings account, as they called it. And so, okay, if we run a deficit budget and we spend all of that budget, then we're pulling that money, that account down. And so that's the only
Correct.
way to lower that account, correct?
Correct. The only way you can spend money that's additional funds is to over budget, so you can spend it down. That's where the money comes from. Our fund balance today was a little under 19 million. We think we're going to be in the hole this year, $1.2 million. Is that what was the last number we estimated? We won't know till October or November probably, because they do journal entries after the end of the month and come back and do some charges back into this year. So we won't have an exact number for a while. It may be just a few weeks. I don't know exactly, but I know we got some payroll that will come back into this year's budget after the end of the month, and those will be done with journal entries at some point in time. So we won't know a real number to then. But our projections with the number of pay periods we got left and the normal spending during September, we went back to September's and prior years to see kind of what the spending was. So that's how we're estimating it right now. Who knows? We're short of revenue right now. We're still projecting that the sales tax has been coming in a little higher. It may make up some of it for us when we get our sales tax in this month. but we don't have it yet, so. So we can approve the budget as it sets, and then we can approve the rate at 1 o'clock, after 1 o'clock. And that rate will be what will be collected from the taxpayers.
So it's the same conversation, it's just the timing of when we can
Just
actually
the
approve.
timing of it, that's right. And again, I would recommend, if we're gonna do it, I would recommend leaving the budget as it is and going to a deficit budget, so we don't have to go try to pull it out everywhere. Like last year, we pulled $250,000 out of capital murders, and we already spent over that this year. And we just can't go cherry pick ones. We've already studied it long enough. We know that's probably what we're gonna have to have. So we'll just have to cover it with a different source of revenue. So Mark, I'm sorry that I
No,
cut
that's-
in on you, but
That's okay. I appreciate your presentation, Judge, and all your work on the budget. I think we all knew, stated going into it this year, that it was going to need to be an adjustment budget. We're going to have to make some corrections, that expenditures have been outpacing incoming revenues, so we all knew that. And I think there's been a lot of good progress to make those two more in alignment. I still personally would like to see us go to the no new revenue, which will generate several $1 million in revenue above last year's as well, per the projections. I hear you about the growth, but I tend to actually agree with Mr. Fuller. I'd even agree with Mr. Fuller and where he thinks we might disagree. I think I would like to see us move in a direction where our conversations about reducing tax rates, reducing actual taxes paid, not just holding them steady. But we are where we are today, so I won't put out all the numbers just because I don't want to give bad information. But if we take all those 37,000 potential homes and conservatively estimate them to be below the median average, that's of $282,000 in appraised value, which is the number here in our tax impact statement. And you multiply that by the amount that we expect a home of that value to pay in taxes. That's a lot of revenue. It's a lot of revenue.
that's probably over 20 years, though. That's
I
what the build-out will be.
understand, but it does add up to a lot of revenue
It does.
coming in. And in addition to that, every time a new home is built, that homeowner is paying sales taxes, they're paying fees and fines in some cases for vehicle registration. So the property tax revenues will increase, and also our sales tax revenue and our other sources of revenue will also increase. So that being said, it is tough to provide services because they do lag. So so that is a legitimate issue. I agree with that. So what I would propose or put out for consideration as a way to get to a no new revenue rate in a way that doesn't compromise our fiscal health and gets us still positioned next year to be be able to utilize all of the new or mostly all of the new revenue to start getting ahead as opposed to catching up. I would agree with what you have recommended be done by transferring in $1 million from capital improvement to contingency. And I agree that if that million, if it's part of the deficit, is not an amount we expect to spend. We need some reserves, some contingency reserves in case something badly goes wrong, an elevator breaks, something like that. But we also don't expect to spend all or most of that. We also, and I think, and you can clarify for me, Judge, if I'm wrong, in the email was sent out with the different rate scenarios included, and included $300,000 in potential attorney fees for lawsuits, which I think we need to have there as well. That's a different subject, but I think we need to have it for some things coming up. And then there's also $200,000 in capital murder expense, and then there's additional $640,000 approximately in facilities projects. And I want to note that of these items, the $1 million in contingency, the attorney's fees, capital murder expenses, those are all things, or most of it is stuff we're adding back into the budget that was cut last year, and we don't expect to spend all or most of it. So if you add those 4 items up, That would be a total transfer in from capital improvement, where we have about $5 million in undesignated funds. That'll be a transfer, that adds up to about 2.14 million. And of course, transfers in count as revenues. It's kind of an accounting thing, but it is what it is. And so that will keep a no new revenue rate and still keep, if my math is correct, have the deficit at about 1.3 million, which is just a couple $100,000 off the deficit at the proposed rate increase. So I think that leaves us in good position next year. We're not going to spend most of that 2.1, and so that will roll into the fund balance for next year. And so between that and the historic trends that we don't spend all of our budgeted expenditures, even this year, I think you said it will be about $1.5 million less than we budgeted and have budgetary authority to spend. That puts us in a really solid position moving forward to maintain the no new revenue rate and not draw down our reserves beyond what is healthy. So that is the path forward I would recommend to the court.
Well, Mark, the problem with that is that when you start moving money out of capital improvement, then you don't have that next year. Now you got to make it. You're still making it up next year. That's the problem. You can't. We need to have revenue that's reoccurring revenue, and whether it comes out this year, if whatever rate y'all end up selecting, we'll end up with it just having a deficit budget. We've got plenty. We got enough. We got about the same amount of money, or should, after this year. Our policy is 12.5 million roughly that we keep in reserves at all. That's our fund balance minimum, and we're going to be at around 18 million at the end of the year. So we can just go to a deficit budget, pull it down from the fund balance, and it's doing the same thing without having to jump through all those hurdles that you're talking about. But it still puts us, either way, puts us in the same boat because we're pulling revenue from somewhere else, and it's the same thing we've been doing for the last 2 or 3 years. We're behind every year. Like this year, we're like $6 million behind, and our new property value is only like 2.5 million. So we still got to cover up 3.5 million, and that's an accumulation from several years. Every time we do a deficit budget, and we spend more than we have revenue to pay for it, and we're relying on other funds to pay for it, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's why I've been stressing that I think it's imperative that we try to go to a no new revenue rate or as close as we can get to it. I don't have a line in the sand and saying not. I mean, I've always said I'm one vote. These are my recommendations, and I don't. There's a lot of concerns. You talked about all those houses and all. Well, we don't know when those are going to get built. Looks like they're going to be coming pretty quick, but like I said, there's more. I was told by a realtor last week that for the first time, there's more sellers than there are buyers, and that's not a good place to be. And the housing market's so bad, the president's talking about declaring an emergency on the housing industry. And so I've been told D.R. Horton has quit building houses. They're not even building anything right now. I haven't gone to try to prove that, but you don't see a lot of things going on right now. And it's like everything else for this coming year. It takes it a while to get geared back up and get to going again. So this next year could be a little different. And I don't know that we're going to see a whole lot of change potentially. I think the increase in property next year, I talked to Brent South, the chief appraiser, and asked him about some of the new industry. Where is it at? Is it all already is it already built into our values that we have today? And he said all of them are pretty much already on the roll. He wasn't sure. He didn't get back to me. But I know he's pretty close to being right. The one that's Spire or something, it's the corner of 66 and 1570. It's got the real tall building out there. They're making those plastic stuff. I think he said about half of that's on appraisal roll, but the rest of it will probably come in next year. But that's not gonna be all that much money, and it takes other properties. Of course, we got a lot going on out on I-30. I know there's Olive Garden going up now, and they're building some apartments and some other stuff out there. So depending on what all that happens is what growth, but I don't anticipate the growth unless there's some really big things that come on next year.
Yes. I think
That's my concern.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I think those are legitimate concerns. I share them. I guess where I might differ is that I don't think it's going to help if that projection or concern bears out. You'll see a reduction in home values, which is going to provide some pain to some people. Probably see some people upside down. So I don't know that increasing.
I think you're going to see house price. What I'm hearing, I mean, we've got a realtor in the back. I think house prices are going down, which is going to negatively affect us. Be great for our taxpayers, but there's a real possibility that home prices could start going down.
It'll be, there's not a good solution in that, so I think we can stipulate
No,
that.
it's not.
But I don't know that it's gonna help.
Well, none of us know, Mark. That's that's what makes this job so hard. We got to try to forecast the future of what's going to happen and make the best guess we can make today. And right now, I don't have a real rosy feeling about what the next year is going to be like, and I hope I'm wrong.
Well,
That's what the difficulty of a budget. You got to prepare for the worst and hope for the best.
Right.
And,
Well, I would just reemphasize that I understand about just moving the money around, but again, if most of that or a lot of that is not expected to be spent to begin with, I think it's a tough ask of taxpayers to foot the bill for it on an increase. Also, I don't think an increase in tax rate.
Wait, back up a second, Mark. Say that again.
If we don't expect to spend all the contingency, all the capital murder, what was my other line?
For
there?
this year or next year?
This budget we're discussing for 25,
For next year.
26.
I mean, like I said, with capital murder, we've got one that's going on, and we got one that's been under appeal that's been sentenced to death, and he's probably going to get that overturned, and it's coming back to us to be retried probably.
True.
And so then we got one that they've just gotten started with it. So I don't know what that number is, but it's a pretty good number.
Well, if we have to dip very far into the million contingency, then something's gone very wrong, and we've probably got bigger problems at that point. And with the $300,000 in attorney fees, again, I'm not arguing we shouldn't have those, but even a pretty robust lawsuit over the course of a year, if it's going to trial or something like that, I think is unlikely we'll use a full $300,000 in a single budget year. So my point is, a lot of that is going to go back. Is not going to be spent. It'll go back into the fund balance, which is between that and what our historical underspend on the budget, which is getting smaller. I think will actually make a positive contribution to the fund balance at the end of the year. And then also, again, if the market's going bad, I don't know that means we should raise taxes to make sure we have enough revenue, because I think that'll add additional burden to people who are probably upside down in homes, and it actually increases the cost. And, sorry, I just had a Rick Perry moment. What was the other one? Oh, it makes it so that we have a bigger potential gap if we have decreased revenues or based off of property values going down. It creates a bigger gap for us to make up in the next budget if we have that negative forecast come about. So I understand, Judge, and I respect what you've said, but those are my concerns, and kind of why I think we would be better off. The taxpayers would be better off if we go with a no new revenue rate budget.
So curiosity on between the conversation y'all were having, either approach, at the end of the day, the money is going to come from the same place.
Correct.
It's going to come from the fund.
Capital improvement money came out of the fund balance, and it can go back into the fund balance. So there's no reason to pull it out of one and then go back and forth. We can just approve the budget as it is, and then whatever rate y'all end up selecting, we'll have a deficit budget, and we got fund balance to pay for it, and we don't have to do anything. We don't have to have a discussion about capital improvement or anything, because it's all the same money. It's all
So if I use a
taxpayer funds.
different terminology from a people standpoint, we're going to pull from the savings account in either scenario.
Either scenario, it's coming out of the taxpayer funds. In both cases, it's the same. There's no differential.
So what's if we pull down, what's the proposition for next year to replenish the 1.2, 1.3 to the precincts, and then also, well, we can look ahead for the employees?
It's going to be another deficit budget, and or we're going to have to raise taxes or something.
Well, so
That's why, that's
Or-
why I
or we-
keep saying that we need to get as close as we can to a balanced budget this year, so we don't have that fight next year.
Or we may not be able to make up all of that to the precincts in one budget. We're holding our budgets, and I've got plenty of things to spend money on in the precinct, so I understand the problem there. But, plenty of needs out there. But if we're holding our budget steady this year, then next year, we'll see what the new revenues are. We can make an educated guess today if we want to, but it's gonna be, some number, there'll be some increase barring some catastrophic economic development, which is beyond our control.
Right.
So there, we may not be able to replenish, I say replenish, we never had it. That was an increase we requested in our requested budgets. But we can ask for that again and possibly make up that, but maybe not the full amount. It'll depend on where the revenues are.
you're talking about on the road and bridge side?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think the intent was to start trying to negotiate to get it back next time. This was one time because we had a $6 million deficit. We were trying to help the cause. We're asking the sheriff, we're asking everybody and their brother to help out. We asked for capital. Look, like all of you, I got more than enough things that need to be fixed. I've got 150 miles of roads that haven't been overlaid properly. That's $15 million if you wanted to go do the quick math on what it would take to get those. So I'm all good with helping because the deficit this year was large. It's over $6 million, almost $7 from the original submittal. And so it made total sense that capital needs to own up. It made total sense that the road and bridge, could help out, try and hold steady. And I appreciate that the sheriff, signed on and gave a little more at the deal as well. And of course, all the other cuts are things that we just held common. But I would be a little bit reluctant, Mark, because I'm with everybody on no new revenue, but to start signing up to slowly reduce the road and bridge budget over time is not really what I was thinking of whenever I said, yeah, let's do that.
No, Gary, that was not what I was saying,
Okay.
and that's okay. I was saying we may not be able to make up the increase at as fast as we want. But that's true of everything. Like we're always having, even the fact that we had, upon submittal, a $7 million deficit, now we've got it to something much smaller. We had to say no to a lot of things. That's normal in government, it's normal in business, it's normal in our homes.
Well, I guess my comment, if you go to no new revenue rate, that's going to knock our deficit so bad, assuming what all happens, that I think the court needs to go ahead and make some decisions and just tell our staff they need to start getting ready to cut their budgets next year and maybe start looking at having to reduce staff, because that's the only way we're going to get there if we keep doing this.
My opinion is, even if we don't go no new revenue, we need to tell all departments, we got it, we're coming up with a certain amount, and we're holding this line, you make this much of a cut. I don't think it should be the commissioner's court for us to set up here. Yes, it's our money to manage it, or our job to manage the money, but I don't know if one department needs 15 pens or if they need 10 pens. I'm just using that for an example, but what I'm saying is,
Or two
I think.
people or 7 people.
Yeah, or we could scenario to death, but my point is I think we need to come up with the area on the budget, we focus on the revenue a lot, and you have to, but we also need to focus on the expense, which we have this year. We've cut a lot of the big expenses out, but I think all of the department heads, elected officials next year, I think they need to participate in this, and they need to bring us a budget back where they made cuts and give us something to work with instead of us sitting up here trying to make all the cuts. And that's whether we go no new revenue or whatever we do.
Well, in trouble, so the public knows, no elected official can tell another elected official what they can do. The only thing we can tell them is this how much money you got it to do with? And that's where we stop. We can't go tell an elected official, you got to change the way you run your office. They get to run it the way they want to, which makes it difficult. So that's what I'm saying, that was my point. We can't tell them what to do, so we need to tell them what's fixing to happen to them. So hopefully they can make adjustments. Government is tough.
You got something, Gary?
I think I'll,
Oh,
Right now, is this when we make changes to the budget before we say we're gonna approve it? Not the rate, but just the budget?
yeah, we can, I mean, if we approve the budget, I've got a list of things that's changed, like all those salaries and stuff. There's a few changes that has to be in the motion to approve the budget as it is.
One thing I'd like to recommend is we have to buy, on the boaters, in the boaters administration, we have to buy a bunch of new equipment. And I believe that was around 200,000. What if we pull that 200 out of capital? And that lowers that down a little bit more.
Was it not on there? Is it just the one sheet?
just one side.
Okay.
Do we not have it?
Not on the flash drive. She's getting it on her computer.
Okay. While she's pulling that up, one of the things I've attempted, first of all, I think everybody's on the right conversation of trying to figure out how to manage this. Going line item by line item, taking $10 at a time doesn't get you anywhere. There's a little bit of philosophy, to take it out this way, take it out that way. It all ends up in the same conversation. The difficult part for me coming in is there's so many variables as you go through this. The one we never talk about is the fact that not everybody pays their taxes. And so when somebody doesn't pay their taxes, your revenue goes down even though you had a planned budget. In business, that's not one of those things you usually deal with when you're dealing with overheads. You have a fixed budget in a corporate America scenario. So I was really trying to look at a way to have a simple conversation about this. I believe everybody up here is saying the same thing in that recognizing it's not a one-year fix. We have a tendency to deal with everything in government and this is the current budget year that we're talking about. And from a county standpoint, that actually doesn't help us planning out too long, or even worse, we only plan based on how long the current crew is in office, and we're not actually building a plan for how the county should be developing and going forward. And so I was hoping here, Bernice, are we going to have any luck?
How about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys? After I get through talking, I might be traded to Green Bay.
Well, you might be in good company up there. I heard they got a pretty good player up there now.
And so what I'm about to go through is really with a focus, and Mark, I didn't mean to be elevated on that. I was just like, oh crap, now I'm giving up all my money for eternity on the road and bridge.
No, nor was I suggesting that, but I do understand.
But what I'm going to put up here is really basics, fundamentals of, we just did a couple of things, because when we talk about balanced budget right now, whether it's no new revenue or it's the 1.6 cent per hundred, either way, it has $2.2 million of additional money in it that came from Road and Bridge and came out of capital. So you have to take that off the top when you're talking about next year, unless you're going to repeat that. But it's not repeatable long-term. Roads and Bridges can't take that cut for eternity, and the capital can't take that, or the whatever savings account you want to talk about can't take that forever, because you're just drawing down money and eventually you run out, and God forbid that your housing growth stalls out, and then we're in trouble. And so you have to try and figure out how to get there in a balanced way. I feel like one of those news anchors, you know, where they keep saying stretch out, keep talking.
Well, you're doing a good job of it. Do you do singing and dancing too, or?
Yeah, but that clears the room pretty fast.
Judge, how's that Irish game going to go?
Oh, I'm a little worried about it. My Aggies maybe will pull it out.
You know, betting's pretty popular these days. If we need a little bit of time, we can go back and do it. We can always come back to this. Oh, there we go.
We're gaining on it, looks like. There you go.
So what I wanted to do is kind of get this out of the shell games or the paper games. Not that they're games. I mean, the different ways that you get there and really just talk about getting to the basics. And so just look at the left side of the screen for the moment. And so 2526, that's what we're talking about right now. Okay. So you can see the revenue number 53 million and the expense number 55 million. So there's your built-in deficit. The big thing about that is that revenue number has money that's been gifted to it, so to speak, from capital and from road and bridge. But I want to kind of walk you through a scenario of multi-year conversation. So we have a $53 million revenue forecast. Next year, if we hold that steady, if we assume that on all the existing, that we're just going to continue to get the 53 million, but we look at this year where we had $2.5 million of new money that came in, so I'm just going to hold that flat. I don't think there's any argument that says it's going to go up. Probably from some of the conversation, there's fear that it might go down, but let's just hold that flat. So that would mean next year our revenue would be $56 million. Okay. Now the reality is we've got to go take that 1.2 million and return it to the road and bridge funds. So that drops you down to 54.8. Then the capital money, hopefully we're not having to go rob from capital and continue to do that. That's a long-term bad practice. And so that would drop another million down. So that would have our revenue, the top green, at $53.8 million. Okay. Now drop down to expenses. Oh, by the way, the foundation of this is starting with a 1 cent rate change. Not the 1.6, not the no new revenue. It's it's the 1 cent impact. And I'm doing this because if you see on the expenses, 55 million is what we plan for this year. Roll into next year, and the only reason I'm showing this, I didn't even know if I was going to show this today, but Commissioner Monroe made reference of cost, because we always talk about revenue. We always talk about moving money from this bucket to that bucket. We have to start looking at, can we be more efficient? Are there different ways to do it? In prior life, it wasn't an option for me. Here's the challenge, you have to go make it, or you're not needed in the role that you have. It doesn't appear that we treat ourselves that way. I agree, Judge. I can't tell another elected official how to run their department. The department heads that are employed by the county, certainly you can push on them a little more. But I don't believe anybody who's running an organization, who is elected by the people, doesn't want to be a good steward of the money that they've been handed. So we need to start putting the expectation on that. That's what we want to do. You can kind of go look at, I'll just be accurate with things that we're already talking about. You start looking at taking a 5% across the board reduction. That's not insignificant, by the way, when you think about how much of our budget is manpower. So that's not a trifle number when you recognize that, because this is not about getting rid of people. This is about making our business run smarter. So you have things like the spyglass thing in here that was looking at how do you reduce your internet, your cell phone usage? Are the rates that you're being charged correct? How do the copiers and the printers get replenished. You realize it costs more many times with contracts that you have to actually put toner and ink in it than it does to buy a new copier. And so the contracts that you have for the services you get, sometimes you have to go do a return on investment periodically on those things to make sure they still make sense. Enterprise, the judge always speaks about the bad shape that the county was in with 18-year-old vehicles, and Enterprise was a way to go get there. And it's still an outstanding program, but we need to go look at that program, do some analysis on it. Does it still fit us the way that it's set up? Are there different ways? I'm not going to go down a whole list of things. There's things on Road and Bridge that we're doing, cost on materials, standardizing some processes that reduce fuel costs. There's all kinds of things that we should be challenging ourselves to go do. And so what I'm trying to propose is we give all of our heads, we give them a 1-year notice that next year your budget's going to be less. No, by the way, you have to add one more back to it on the expense side, because we can't continue to not give our folks pay raises. That doesn't work. It ends up long-term bad quality, performance, everything will go bad. The turnover will grow and we'll be right back into places we don't want to be. But if you'll notice, when you add that back in and you take the efficiency improvement, it gets you to $53.6 million. If you look up the top green square, it's $53.8 million. So I'm saying we need to go do the penny. That ensures that we get the money back into, to Road and Bridge next year, protect, having to go back to capital, get the improvement, headed down a path where we actually run our business more efficiently. And we're getting real close to a balanced budget that starts talking about no new revenue next time around. There's lots of variables that will go in here, and all of these guys can probably shoot a hole in everything I said, but it's a path that gets us there by the numbers, not just by speculation. That's all I had, Judge.
Comments? I'll make one. The 5% reduction, since close to 60% of our budget is salaries, we including salaries in that, or what are we including in that?
Well, so please don't take that I'm saying we need to go lay off. No, that is not what we're saying. But you have salary, so you have attrition. You have future growth that you need where you don't add those in. We talked about trying to get to a way that we manage in the future pay raises, a little more merit-based. And so I certainly there's going to be a big piece there, but I think there's a lot of things process-wise that we do that all the department heads, it may not be about their people, it might be about how Department A interfaces with Department B. It may be that we're still dealing with 20-year-old software that doesn't have any reporting capability of any kind, so you can't actually make decisions or get information. I think it's an overall efficiency of how we run the government.
A lot of our software is not very good.
Yeah, I've experienced that.
Unfortunately, so the public knows, I had it in my own business when I had title company and survey company. Those are unique businesses. They're not on every corner. It's hard to get software that's directed just at those businesses. It's the same thing in government, particularly county government. Counties are different than cities, so they have to have a different, so nobody wants to go out and spend a lot of money developing a super duper program for just handling this issue. So there's not many places to go buy software.
Yeah.
There's just one or two companies that even do it, and when you do it, they're high because they don't sell a lot of them.
So the only thing I'll close out with is, as we've gone through this, I've had lots of conversations with lots of people in the precinct and even some outside the precinct. And it's been pretty interesting to watch the split of where people are parked. It's actually fairly even. People that say, do not raise my taxes. I cannot do that. Do not. And very clear that they don't want that, and I understand. You have a number, it's not a huge number, but it's not an insignificant number that say, look, the county needs to do what it needs to do, prepare for the growth, and make sure we got the services that we need, but not being foolish. And then another group is there not some scenario in the middle? And then that group says something to me that actually kind of caught me to where you get so busy trying to make the right decision politically and the right decision business-wise, and I can tell you they don't always match. And so a number of those people said, Gary, I don't even need you to ask me this question. I voted for you because I expect you to have common sense, be an honest broker, and try and actually come up with a plan that does the best decision-making for the county. And so I did that. That's why I asked questions about where that money comes from, because if it's all coming from the same, I don't know that that's an issue for me. But this is the way I think we get there, and we actually, to Commissioner Monroe's point, we are enlisting all the leaders of the county. Okay, let's go talk about what we do that's stupid. First day, whenever I went out to the barn, there was a question I asked, and the list that I got was pretty significant. You know, of what is it that we do stupid? And we start working those things first, you might be amazed how much we can reduce some of just the day-to-day costs of the business.
Gary, I like a lot, let me rephrase that. I like what you said, and I appreciate putting the numbers to it. What I like most about what you said is that we can argue or disagree on kind of what the decision today needs to be to get for this budget in front of us, but also agree that the framework for moving forward has tons of value, and we should embrace that. And so I would 100% agree with that framework. I think budget is, you know, sometimes we can be guilty of trying to put it in kind of a season, but really it's a year-round thing. And I'd even been thinking already, and you said it well in a different way than I thought. But, you know, in some ways we might be better off, you know, starting next year's budget, like the meeting after we adopt this year's budget. Things are fresh. We've been looking at this, and we can identify a number of stuff that will take some time to work through and analyze. The enterprise program is very high on my list. There's some other things just to try and capture some efficiencies, savings here and there. If we can save 20,000 here, 20,000 there, 100,000 there, 5,000 here, you know, that starts to add up in a hurry as we're trying to control costs. So 100% agree with that. Might still quibble a little bit on the 1 cent part, just because I think, again, the numbers, the money I'm suggesting we transfer and is not, we should not, there's no data to suggest it will all be spent. If it's all spent, it's going to be some catastrophe happened. And so a lot of that will roll into next year's budget. And I'm not comfortable increasing taxes while we have the means to bridge that gap and move in this direction where we're doing a better job of looking into the future for how we can save money moving forward as well. So,
Yep, thank you.
Gary, thank you for this, putting that together. I can tell you did a lot of thought in it. I appreciate it. My stance is on going to no new revenue. I'm not saying that it's wrong, right, or indifferent, but the thing that gets me is the $2 million on the money we took out of the precincts, and then the money we took out of capital, and then if you include the COLAs, that goes back up to $3 million. That whether it gets spent or don't get spent, I kind of look at it as when you fund this, is like when you set your home budget, you have to set that on what you're going to make 40 hours a week. Say you're working 50 hours consistently of overtime. You can't, or I wouldn't set my expenses on banking on getting that 10 hours of overtime every week. Because when that overtime goes away, I still have to have those bills that are coming in that I've got to pay. And I kind of look at this, the revenue and expense line item, the same way. We have to concentrate on the revenue. We know what projected revenue is coming in, and that's where we got to try our best to budget to. And so if you take money out of other accounts and keep feeding that, you potentially set yourself up for failure. And not saying it will or it won't, that's kind of it's a big guessing game. Where I'm at on it is, Gary, I like your 1 cent proposal. What if we look at going 3/4 cent, and that puts us right in the middle of no new revenue and 1.5 cents? I know we can't talk or vote on rate right now, but that may be an option.
Well, we can vote on the budget now, or it's getting to be almost 12 if we don't take a lunch break, and then we can come back and continue this discussion and then approve, but either way, we got to approve the budget before we do the rate. So if everybody would agree that the budget stays for expenditures where it is, and then we'll figure out the money, either from whatever the tax rate becomes and then whatever the fund balance needs to cover for it. It's going to be the cleanest, simplest way. And
Gary, one question regarding your slide. Are you intending, is it your intent, and you don't have, you can answer this however you want, is it your intent to try and get to no new revenue rate in future?
Absolutely.
And this is a temporary adjustment?
Yeah, that's the only reason. I mean, my intent when I started this was we would do no new revenue. To be honest, a little bit naive maybe coming in. I thought our growth numbers would be more than what they were. I see this adjustment as necessary because we're putting $2 million of one-time money into the bucket. That adjusts us to get there, and then it gives us 12 months to go reduce costs and expense and challenge ourselves to get better.
And the reason I ask that is because, in my conversations with constituents and people around the county, people understand we need an amount of revenue to provide services. They're not free. But no, people, I have a pretty overwhelming response that people don't want a tax increase. But the number one common theme is, what are you doing to control costs in the future?
Absolutely.
That's something that's common, I think, with 100% across the board. So what I like, again, whether we come to a point of agreement or not, what I like about what you're doing is that you're looking at controlled costs in the future. And I think that answers a lot of concerns out there. But we will every year have a $7 million to cut off of requests. That's maybe not 7 million, but you get my point. There will always.
Well, I was actually suggesting, I've already given you your budget number for next year, but that's a whole nother meeting.
Hey, I'll take it.
y'all want to take a break, go eat lunch and think about it, or y'all want to make a decision now on what approving the budgets, or?
So it sounds like basically, for us to approve the budget, the discussion is moving money from one space to another space. That's really where we're at with the budget, it sounds like.
If we're keeping the budget where it is and it's just about revenue, then you can approve the budget as it is now, and then we'll go vote and figure out what the rate is, and then I guess my opinion would be it would just come out of the fund balance at that point in time. If we're not.
Yeah, to pull the fund balance down some more.
Pull the fund balance down. If we were going to do it out of capital improvement, then it needs to be done now in the budget process, I think. Aaron, does that sound right to you? If we approve the budget as it is, but then we say, well, we're going to have to pay for it out of capital improvement, we can't do that. Mary, you think? I think I'm right on that.
I have a question. When you talk about the budget as it is right this minute, does that have all the cost in there in INCO? Because when I look, I still don't see the wages for the judges.
Well, Mary, we got the list, so when we approve it, I've got a list of things.
But they're not in the budget that you're saying you're going to pass. It's in place, because when I look at it, the budget will be less than what you're saying the budget will be if you pass it.
We're gonna pass the budget, and so the motion be to pass the budget with $25,000 in revenue for County Court at Law 1, County Court at Law 2, $17,500 for the county attorney, and then for expenditures, County Court at Law 1 will have $43,500, that, we can't change the proposed budget yet till we approve it. So
Right.
these will be made in the motion, then we'll change it in
Yeah.
the budget book, and then that will become the adopted budget.
That is correct. And as long as you do that, I don't want a repeat of us sitting in a courtroom before the people and saying, yes, this is our budget, and then find out that we said something and we didn't do it.
But those increases are what's being forced upon us.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, I did, one thing, there's one adjustment that, I don't remember if I told y'all, two things I think I've told y'all, but just to make sure and so the public knows. We had turned down a part-time person for JP 1-2, and she was requesting $15,000. And we did not approve that during the hearing. She came and talked to me, and I said, in JP 1-2, Fund 68, which is one of her specialty funds, I think is that the DDC? That's her defensive driving fund that she has, that she controls. And she has a line item for salary. I said, if you want to put it over in your fund, it's not taxpayer money, that's fine with me. Now, I don't remember if I told y'all that or not. And then I was looking through trying to find some more cuts a week or two ago in courthouse security. We had quite a bit of money in that. We also have a fund for courthouse security, Fund 82, and I moved a lot of the expense items out of the budget and we haven't done it yet, but that's been my proposal, is to move money out of Fund 10, courthouse security, and move those expenses over to Fund 82, where they've got quite a bit of money in there. So it takes that's another little cut. Part of this is going to be a cut in the budget. Part of it's going to be an increase because of the salaries. But there's a dozen or so changes we'll have to make when we make our motion, if everybody's in agreement with all that.
Gary, I think you may not have been there when they passed that out. That was that list that the judge was going down.
Okay, just looking at this information that I was just handed, these are just raw wages, no loads on them. Would we not want to run this through INCO to get the bottom line amount?
We can still make the motion with the raises to that plus any benefits or.
Yes. These numbers include, except for Fund 24, except for that one does not include the benefits. Everything else is net, just change, net change in each department.
Does that answer your question?
It does answer my question, but I guess I still linger with, why hasn't this already been done so that we could see the bottom line? I mean, I hear what you're saying.
The court hasn't approved it yet. And we're working on a proposed budget. We're trying to get to a final budget, so the court's gonna have to
Yeah,
approve it. So
final
we normally haven't revised proposed budgets as we go. We usually do it, we do a proposed, then we make adjustments, and then we do the final budget, approved budget. Is the way we've always done it, to my recollection. Take a break and finish it later, or?
So, I mean, this is a process for me, so
Yep.
is there any reason we wouldn't do this right now so we only have one topic when we come back? I mean, is there discussion points here still?
Not from my side. Seems like our biggest deal is on the,
Gonna be the
on the
revenue.
rate. So, what's the motion need to read then? How do we make a motion, or somebody make a motion if we don't know?
We need to make a motion to approve the proposed budget with those items handed out to you, I guess read off for the record, that will be changed in the budget, and those are the only things that,
Mary, are you asking just that whether we take, it is accompanied by a vote or not, that we have these updated numbers input into Encode before we vote on the whole budget? She didn't hear me. She has some hearing problems. Hey, Mary, were you asking for us to delay until the budget is updated with these numbers for judicial raises the state?
No, I'm really
Ask
just
for.
concerned that we're sitting here and we don't have all the numbers in the system that we rely on, that the revenue will be applied against. And I understand that this is an ongoing process, but we've had a couple of weeks, and I sent this message to Bernice yesterday asking when and if this information would put in there, because every time I go in, it's the same bottom line numbers. So I wouldn't want to go in and purchase something and them say, well, I'll get you the bottom line number later, but go ahead and approve it now. It just doesn't seem to be quite prudent. But if this is how the county court does it, I'm okay with it. I just don't know why we don't have a bottom line number.
So are all the changes that we're talking about things that were driven by the state? Nothing
all except
driven?
those couple that I told you.
Yeah.
Just this list and then the other funds as well. But that's all the changes. I have not made any changes to the proposed budget as of right now. These would be the ones that would change the proposed budget.
So it's ones that are driven by the state, so that's fixed. And what were the couple you had said, Judge, again?
It was the courthouse security, moving money out of the taxpayer funds into Fund 82, which is a separate fund. It's generated by fees. And then the hourly employee for the JP 1-2, she wanted that employee, so I think the employee, is that employee with benefits at 17?
That one is, that's the total net change, the 17,780.
780 for, and that'll be paid out of Fund 68, which again is a fee fund, not a taxpayer fund. So we,
17,780?
yeah,
Okay.
$17,780.
Should we take a break? And Mary, do you want to talk to Bernice and make sure you're comfortable with that? For those in the public, part of the auditor's role is to audit the numbers, and that includes looking at the budget. So if you're not comfortable with it, I want to see if we can resolve that first before voting on it. That's just my opinion.
I don't believe the dollar amount is significant. It's just the principle. I'm okay with, if you commissioners want to approve this with the numbers that are before you, then you bear that burden. This has not been audited in any form or fashion by the audit department. We've been given very little data. The things I've gone and gleaned through have been taken right out of Encode. There's been no contribution from the budget department to the audit department to look at.
Bernice and Judge, how long would it take to get those numbers?
If it were just these changes, I could do that. I could try to have it mobile. And then I can run the reports just for those departments that are gonna have to change. That would help, but it's not gonna be.
But either way, we still have to do the budget. We have to go through this list and pass it in with those changes made, because the proposed budget, any change made, we have to tell the public and vote to change that. So to me, it's kind of tomato. I mean, we can do it and vote it the way Daniel said we could do it, or we can change it and we're still gonna have to vote it the way Daniel said. Now, if there's some concerns that those numbers aren't right, then that's a different story.
Yeah, I mean, if this is
And-
2 weeks earlier, I think it'd be a fairly easy decision. I want the auditor to feel comfortable with this, and so I'd like to accommodate that as best we can. But I do understand we're in a time crunch too.
So all the numbers would be right in the budget, or in the proposed, and then we're just adding the state mandated that the judges that got a raise, we know what those costs are, that's gonna add to that number. And then the court security fees and the JP 1 and 2, those are coming out of, that's not even coming out of Fund 10 balance, it's coming out of a different revenue line item.
Well, we're reducing Fund 10 and then adding it to another one. So it's actually reducing our expenditures. And, the judicial raises, I think those are all with everything calculated in. Because they're odd numbers, 43,651, that's got all the benefits in it. The numbers up in the revenue, that's what the state is reimbursing us, is revenues. They're part of the raises for the 2 district courts. They're state employees. But we do have, they did increase what counties, they had a restriction on what counties could contribute to district judges. And so those went up a little bit, so those raises in the district court 196 and 354, that's that little bump they got that the county could raise that amount to them. So, and then the county attorneys and district attorneys, well, the district attorney is the same as the district judges. The county attorneys are the same as the county court at law. They got raises too, set by the state. But the county court at law, the state reimburses us half of their salary. We pay half, they pay half.
So if these are fixed numbers, can we say we come back at 1 or come back at 2 or whatever, and we just verify that those are loaded? And if they're loaded, then there's no more conversation.
Well, we still have to pass it, but
I mean,
pass it by saying what we're doing,
but we just say that we verified that those are preloaded numbers with fringe and everything.
well, like I say, I know it is on county court law in 1 and 2 because they're an odd number.
Okay.
But we can check it. So let's.
Well, if
that's great.
if you're confident that it's good, I don't.
Well,
but that,
it never hurts to check anything. So
Let's
I
do
would
that.
recommend we just
Yep.
take a few minutes and we'll check it. Let's break and come back at 1 o'clock. And that's what the time is posted for our next meeting. So,
we need a motion for recess.
Aaron? Yeah.
So moved.
All right, got a motion to recess and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We're recessed at 12:08 and we'll reconvene at 1 o'clock.
It's all a matter of theory, and that's what I want to see. You're not wrong. I'm not saying they're gonna do it. I see his point, I see your point, and I can put it all together, but anyway.
You- Okay. Yep. All right. It's now 1 o'clock. We're back in regular session. Under number 9, public hearing, consider an action on adopting, approving, or ratifying the proposed fiscal year 2025-2026 budget that does raise more property taxes than fiscal year 24-25 budget and all related issues. All right. Commissioner, I entertain a motion to approve the budget with the changes of made in County Court at Law 1, revenue of $25,000, and County Court at Law 2, $25,000, and County Attorney $17,500 in revenues. That'll be money coming from the state to offset some of the raises the state gave those individuals. And then we've got County Court at Law 1, $43,651 in judicial raise. County Court at Law 2, $56,040 due to judicial raises. 196th it's actually a negative 1615 due to judicial raises. District 354, 387.5 due to judicial raises. That's also a negative. Some of that's because the current rate or current budget that was going to put them over because of their fee for being, I think, in the juvenile board that pays $3,600 a year, I think. County Attorney 29,591 due to judicial raises. District Attorney 11,304 due to judicial raises. And then courthouse security was reduced by 16,359. And it was that cost, that expense was moved to Fund 82. So Fund 82 budget changed to increase expenditures by 21,959, and JP 1-2 Fund 68 added 17,780 for a part-time employee. In Fund 24, which is a $3,000 reduction per the sheriff's office. That was a raise to an employee that shouldn't have been in there. And then Fund 23, $167,882 to revise the proposed 8/22/25 budget, which that's Fund 23. Fund 24 was Steve, I guess. That was Fund 24 was the 3,000 was reduced from an employee raise that shouldn't have happened. I guess it got inputted wrong.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, and then 167,882 came out of Fund 23, which is Commissioner Smith's revised proposed budget by reducing his expenses by that amount of money. So entertain a motion with those included.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed?
No.
All right, 4-1. All right. Action item number 10, consider action authorizing the ratification of fiscal year 2025 budget that does not raise more taxes than fiscal year 24-25. Entertain a motion for approval. Do I have to restate all that before, if it's just since we're ratifying what we just did?
Be better to yes.
Okay.
Quick run through.
Okay, so consider an action authorizing the ratification of the fiscal year 25-26 budget that does raise more taxes for the fiscal year 20 than the fiscal year 24-25. And entertain a motion to approve with the same additions that I read last time. County Court Law 1, $25,000 revenue. County Court Law 2, $25,000 in revenue. County Attorney, $17,500 in revenue. And then, that's revenue, then expenses, county court law, $43,651 due to judicial raises. County court law 2, $56,040 due to judicial raises. District 196, $1,615 decrease due to judicial raises. District 354, $3,875 due to judicial raises. County attorney, increase of $29,591 due to judicial raises. District attorney, $11,304 due to judicial raises. And courthouse security is reduced, $16,359, and those expenses were moved to Fund 82. So Fund 82 is increased expenses of $21,959. And JP 12, Fund 68, $17,780 is an employee added to that fee fund account. Fund 24 reduced $3,000 for employee raise that shouldn't have been in the budget. Fund 23, a reduction in expenses of $166,882 in Precinct 3. Do I hear a motion for that?
What do you need a motion on?
Or ratify
What
it?
are we doing?
What's the difference in the two?
It's what the law says we have to do, Aaron. Procedurally,
So
we
they're
have to
both
approve
about-
it and then ratify we approved it.
But they're both about the same topic.
Yes,
Okay.
we just do the same thing over again.
Okay, well, I guess I'll make a motion in that case since I did last one.
I'll second it.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
All right.
All opposed?
No.
One opposed. All right. Now we need to go to the addendum. Addendum to the meeting, under action item B, number 1, public hearing, discussion, and action on adopting or approving the proposed fiscal year 2026 tax rate of .339824 per $100 valuation exceeds the no new revenue tax rate of .325741 per $100 valuation, all related issues and record vote. So it means we all have to vote for it.
As far as public hearing, there was one comment on the tax rate.
Oh, okay.
From Sonia Dawson, emailed in, reason for the inquiry is don't raise the tax rate. We had a surplus and we have a great deal of growth boosting the tax base. If spending wasn't crazy and wasn't, and wasteful, you could balance the budget.
Okay. All right, so discussion on the tax rate, or a motion on the tax rate, either one, whatever the pleasure of the court.
As I stated earlier, I'm not good with the cent and a half. I understand why it was proposed. I can't agree with it. The no new revenue, I still, just in my heart, I think that that could potentially hurt us, and I don't really want to go that route. Commissioner Smith said something about a penny, and which I appreciate that. I'm going to suggest let's go. I don't want to sound like a car salesman or whatever, but would anybody agree to just going 3/4 of a cent? We get right in the center of cent and a half, and we get in the center of no new revenue, and 3/4 of a penny is.
Where the current budget, current proposal is 1.6 cents. It's not a cent and a half. So if you're trying to cut it, you might, just so you know, you can do it either way you want to, but it's not currently a cent and a half. It's currently at 1.6 cents.
I'd still just say go 3/4 of a penny.
That's fine. I just make sure clarity.
Yeah.
You,
That's, I mean, from the discussion too that we had earlier and then in previous courts, I may be wrong, but I don't feel like I don't think there's three votes on no new revenue, I don't feel like there'd be 3 votes on a cent and a half. I may be wrong. And
So
and you may
is
not get, on 3/4 of a penny, may not get 3 votes, but that's just.
Is that a motion?
suggestion.
Are you making that a motion?
I can make it a motion.
Okay. Well, I
I make
didn't
a
know-
motion to go 3/4 of a penny on tax rate.
Okay, we have a motion to set the tax rate at, what would that be? So the no new revenue rate is 0.325741, so you want to add 1/2 cent, so that's plus point oh 0.75 or 3/4 or 1/2
3/4.
3/4? Okay.
Would it be 3/4 to the existing tax rate?
To the no new revenue rate.
Revenue.
So if my math is right, that's 0.333241, which is less than the 0.339824 that's in the proposed budget. So 0.333241. Anybody check my math? Y'all check the math on it?
Leave that to Gary.
Well, I actually had a different number, so that's why I'm trying to. I think my number is because of the 1.5 versus the 1.6. I think that's probably where.
So I went to the no new revenue rate, and he's saying he wanted to be a 75% of what was being proposed, basically, which is not a cent, but it's 0.0075.
So what would that mean tax-wise? So we said 1 penny is equal to 1.5. So if
Yeah.
we go to 7.5.
Cut that in half, that's, it'll reduce our revenue by about, $800,000 maybe. Cause no, it's 8 cents. Hell, I'll do the math. Can't do it in my head.
But I-
333241, that's what I had.
That's the number I got.
The 0.0333241.
Oh, I did that wrong.
So that's adding less than $1 million?
Yeah. To the deficit. It's a little over 50% cut of the penny. So it's around $800,000 that it would cut.
So David, when you are making that recommendation and potentially a motion, you're just looking at the ends of the spectrum and saying least impact, but to try and position us, you're thinking split the middle is the way to go?
Yes, sir, that was my thought pattern on it, because, like I said, where I'm looking at is, we took $1.2 million out of the precincts, and then we didn't do COLA raises. Those two items is a little over $2 million, or just say right at $2 million. We have to make that up somewhere. So that, and I don't feel comfortable going $0.015, and I don't feel comfortable going no new revenue. So I'm trying to just err on the side of caution. I'm trying to, if we're 50% wrong or if we're 50% right, we're right there in the middle, is where I'm looking at. And that's where I came up with that. And two, like I said, I don't know, I may be wrong. I don't know if you're going to get, based off conversations in the previous meeting, I don't think you're going to get 3 votes on the no new revenue. And I feel strongly that you're probably not going to get 3 votes on the $0.015. So I'm just trying to get in the middle.
You know, we've heard from people, obviously, that don't want to go up on taxes, which I get as well. I don't like paying the tax bill, too. And then, obviously, you know, we've heard people, you know, citizens say that we've got to make sure that we plan for down the road for the county, obviously for the employees and so on. So there's the only way to somewhat make this happen and also get us next year, we're not in such a deficit and so far behind, again, because we've got to look at what are we going to do for the precincts, and we've got to look at what are we going to do for the cost of living for employees. There's not too many other options out there besides kind of splitting it in half like you're talking about, Davey, with the 3/4. I would be okay with that.
Is that a second?
I'll second it.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
So, I'm just kind of looking at my numbers from before, so I end
Yep.
up with, sorry, I'm trying to do some math in my head here.
You're right. I did too. I had to get my phone out and do it. My brain is tired.
It certainly benefits the people a little bit more, which is always a good thing. It will make our, so I'm going to rely on something Commissioner Hutchins said, that we have a historic, and so I got 1 year of this. So the historic underruns on budget, is that pretty consistent?
Well, there was, but, you know, every year last 2 years, now this be the 3rd year, we cut and cut. So I don't know how long you can cut, and we're still giving, and we're spending more, so I don't know how long that's going to last. It's going to catch up with us one of these days, and that's not going to be the truth. Well, like this year, we're projecting over $1 million negative this year.
Because in my,
But we didn't get all our revenue in, and we didn't spend all our expenditures, but we're going to be in the hole.
because I was just assuming black and white, without putting any
Right.
underrun on consideration. If we underran, so you say we're going to be about $700,000
Additional,
additional deficit?
yeah, and you can just go to the fund balance, and
But we also might be able to underrun that as well.
we could. You know, the trouble with all of every year budgeting is just we don't know what's going to happen this year. I mean, we can have a lot of weather, you know, that create a lot of problems. We could have an influx of crime that causes jail to get full, and we have to send people out of county. We could get, you know, more capital murder cases going. A lot of things can happen. We just don't know. I mean, that's why we can't budget like you can in a business, because we got so many things that we're liable for. You just don't know when they're going to hit you, and you got to have the money to be able to take care of those problems, and that makes budgeting extremely difficult to be, you know, just a flat, tight budget, because it just doesn't work very good in government. Wished it did, but most years you'd be okay, but then you get that 1 year. So we got a motion and a second. Is any other discussion? Want more time? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Oh, that's right. My bad. Okay. Commissioner Hutchins, you got the, you got it? Okay. Commissioner Hutchins,
No.
Commissioner Monroe,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Harrison,
Yes.
Judge Stovall, yes. All right. Is that all we need? Is that all we got today? Aaron, we got anything else? We need to go to executive session for anything? Okay. So under what, is it 5-5? What's the,
Under 1 and 2, it's on the agenda, 1 and 2.
what we doing under, all right, 551.003 or something is what Daniel tells us every time?
071, 1 and 2.
Okay, 551.071, and then 1 and 2 on our agenda. Okay, so we're in executive session at 1:21. Thank y'all, everybody. Anybody looking to see if we're up? All right, we're back in regular session. It's now 1:59. Is there anything else before the court? Any other? If not, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned at 1:59. Thank you, everyone.